Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Smash Through, a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate podcast, where that's part of the Always Improving Network. I'm your host, Spencer, and I'm joined by my co-host, Wes Singleton.
I've been set up.
What do you mean?
I've been set up.
What are you talking about?
You got it. Like, your facts are mostly wrong, Spencer.
I thought we agreed after 56 episodes we were switching.
I haven't played Smash in a month.
Well, that's fine. It's about smashing through.
I can talk about how good I am at.
All right. Here's the deal. If you can't do this, then let's just record Need to Nerd.
That's what we're actually doing, Spencer. I don't know why you thought we were doing anything else.
Oh. All right. Well, welcome to Need to Nerd, then. I'm your host, Spencer. I'm joined by West, who hasn't played Smash in a month. How's it going, West?
I haven't played Smash in a month. I'm doing great.
This week we won't be talking about Smash. I mean, we could be. I don't know. It's
we have any news in Smash?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Have you played Smash in a month?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I played a lot of Smash, actually.
Nice.
I've switched mains.
Oh. I
have a real main now. You know.
It's now still K. Rool.
It's K. Rool, yeah. Hey man,
you switched mains. You just actually were honest with yourself.
Yeah, I've admitted. I've admitted the truth.
That's so different than switching.
We won't talk too much about Smash this week. It is our kind of just our quote unquote normal layout episode where once we hit a certain level on Patreon, these will be bonus episodes that we'll do every month. But it's kind of just our Need to Nerd episode.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, though, Wes, I want to give you a nerd fact of the week that I learned today, and I thought I would share with you. Which is
so we'll both be today years old when we learn it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tom Hanks campaigned to play Mario in the live-action Mario movie, but it was worried that he didn't carry enough clout, so he didn't get the role.
What year was this?
What year did the Mario... It came out in, the 90s, right? So...
Yeah, right? So, I mean... If they thought Tom Hanks didn't have the clout in the 90s...
The real question is, when did Forrest Gump come out?
I mean, that's a great question. Do you think that's it? That's when Tom Hanks made it, Forrest Gump?
Oh, man. Forrest Gump came out in 94. Mario live-action movie... it did come out before that!
Okay. But I'm going to be honest, Tom Hanks didn't actually make it until he was in the Polar Express, obviously.
Oh, is that when Tom Hanks made it?
I have no idea. Has Tom Hanks even made it?
There's a really funny interview on the Dan Patrick Show, and if your kids are listening right now, please plug their ears because I am about to swear. But they're interviewing Kevin Costner, and
that is a swear word. Kevin Costner's a swear word everywhere.
No, Kevin Costner's awesome. And they're talking about Field of Dreams, and one of the Danettes, one of the kind of the co-hosts of the show, is like, Field of Dreams is like the peak of your career, and Kevin Costner's like, fuck you, I haven't hit my peak yet.
Wait,
it was really funny.
Wait, how did we get from talking about Tom Hanks to Kevin Costner?
Well, you just mentioned we were talking about when Tom Hanks made it. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
He made it when he got COVID, obviously. When his antibodies ended up helping us all.
All right. Let's get into the episode. What do you think of that though? Before we move on, could you see Tom Hanks playing Mario?
I mean, you're asking me in 2021 after I've seen Wario be played by Elon Musk, so anything is really possible.
Oh, that's fair. Our Need to Nerd is kind of just that. It's us talking about the nerdy news, the things that we're doing in nerddom, and it's a preview of kind of what bonus episodes will look like. Once you guys smash those dollars on Patreon. First, the thing that we talk about when we do these episodes, West, is what are we doing in nerddom right now? Wes, you can go first on this one.
Sure, I've been staying busy. And that's because this month, August of 2021, is my last month that I'm a human being who gets to do things for fun. Because in the fall, I'm going to be in school, and I'm not going to be nearly as productive as a nerd as I had been before if I'm actually going to succeed in school. So I've been knocking stuff out, but the thing that like my headliner thing I've been doing right now, the thing that's like been capturing my attention that I want to like get off and play right now is called Wildermyth. And Spencer, I don't think you're familiar with this game, so I'll explain a little bit about it. It is a procedurally generated RPG, and you will it's it's a procedurally generated RPG where you start with like 3 farmers who've been attacked in some call to action, and you play through with them and fight monsters, go on quests, defend settlements. But the thing it does that's really quite impactful is it has these like events that kind of can happen throughout the game, and the choices you make will affect, like it just does everything you really want in an RPG well, and it's very bite-sized in its play. Like how long it takes for me to feel accomplished in the game is very short. It is, like I said, procedurally generated, so it's got like this infinitely playthrough idea. It's got several different campaigns, and really it's just this amazing feeling of like you're playing one player, even though it has multiplayer now, and I've not tried it, but it seems awesome. Dungeons and Dragons, where like the DM is totally focused on you. You're controlling several characters. Every bit of story is just very well mapped out, very well crafted. Got beautiful art that puts in, and your characters will look different. They'll change the items you put on them. Sometimes their limbs get replaced by fire. Their eyes get like little black stone in them based off of what happens in the story. And by the end of a campaign, which I think it took me about 5 hours to play through the first one, your characters have gone from like very simple looking farm people to accomplished adventurers. And it's just, and it plays out across like, sometimes 30, 40 years in a game. And it's just really cool to watch how this like system.
What system do you play this on?
I'm playing it on Steam.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it has any console-based releases yet, but it is an indie game that's pretty much only just released. I bought it in early access maybe 2 years ago and played it a little bit then and haven't touched it until now.
Cool.
But another podcast talked about it, and I was like, oh yeah, I own that game. I should play it a little bit. And it totally just caught my attention once again.
Yeah, I'd probably check it out. It sounds pretty sweet.
Yeah. And I think it's at that sweet little Steam price point for indie games of like $20, which is always really fun. After that, I started watching and am making steady progress through season 1 of Stargate SG-1, which is a 2006 era television show that builds upon the classic movie Stargate. And it's your classic like Star Trek or Battlestar Galactica, like, science fiction and a rigid command structure, episode to episode, visit a new world, see what happens there.
I was really into Star Trek novels in like junior high and early high school. I think it was like the predecessor to me getting really into Star Wars novels. And it's funny because I was so into Star Trek novels, I really didn't like the shows very much. Like the movies I watched the movies, and like the every other being good or bad rule of Star Trek movies in the Star Trek originals is really funny because it's definitely true.
It's funny how people make correct observations sometimes.
Yeah, I usually think that they're incorrect. Like people are just like to hate things and make jokes, but I actually never watched Stargate or Battlestar Galactica.
I got a long way through the remake, which is still decently old at this stage, I think, of Battlestar Galactica. And this is my first time watching Stargate. But it's, I'm always on the hunt for things I can watch that I don't care about at all. Like I
just think that those style of TV shows where you can just jump in at any point and it like doesn't really impact your consumption of the thing is something that we've been missing in television for.
Well, it's so different now.
Yeah, it's so hard because like it's actually one of the reasons that I'm excited for one of the things we'll get into in my news. Um, and honestly, like the what if Marvel stuff is kind of going to be that way too, where you just get like, oh, like this one's good, I can jump in and watch it. It's kind of
Yeah,
exciting.
I think it's this is, it makes sense, right? In the old days of television, the way someone might start interacting with your television show is they're just scrolling through channels and then they see this thing, and like whatever happens in the first 30 seconds they're looking at it, it either grabs them or it doesn't, and it has to be able to like be like processable pretty fast in order for you to grasp it, right? And so if you don't just have fun in the first minute or so of watching it, it's probably not going to get watched.
Yeah,
And that has to be true for every episode of the entire show.
yeah. And next up on your list is something that I've been doing too. Why don't you jump in and talk about flashback drafts on Arena?
Yeah.
So first of all, what's a flashback? What's a draft? And what's Arena?
So Magic the Gathering, I guess I'm going to have to answer those questions in reverse order because the context is in the opposite order the words are said. Magic the Gathering Arena is the premier digital Magic the Gathering experience. And it has lots of cards on it, lots of ways to play on it. And the one that I've been playing a lot of and always have played a lot of is Draft, a format in Magic where you build your deck as part of the event instead of sitting and thinking about and copying deck lists from people and really discussing card by card choices. Instead, you see a pack of Magic cards, you pick one out of it, you see another pack of Magic cards, you pick one out of it, and you keep doing that for 30 minutes, and then you build a deck. All the other details that they're self-explanatory. They happen. And if
So what is the current flashback format?
So flashback is referring to old formats that we used to have available to us, and this month Wizards of the Coast has graciously given us 3 different ones to play with, and our first entry to each of them has been free, and there's one more week of them. Today is actually the last day of Kaladesh Remastered, a brush up of the Kaladesh block from 2019, 2018.
Wait, so they did Amonkhet first, right?
Yes, the first one was Amonkhet.
I haven't.
The last week of Kaladesh.
You just reminded me to do my free Kaladesh draft because I actually haven't done it yet.
15 hours to win some free gems.
There we go. Yeah.
And then starting tomorrow, we're going to have Ikoria, which is actually the one I'm most excited for because I played the ever-loving crap out of this format last year during the depth of the pandemic.
So it's funny. Ikoria is the one where I did my preview stream for that I got, the early access stuff, and I just never touched it again, and basically took a magic break for the most part. So all I remember is in my first draft that I did that preview stream, getting, I think it was 4 Blood Curdles or whatever, the 4 mana, kill a creature,
instant speed, destroy target creature, put a menace
counter
on it.
Yeah,
it's an awesome card.
It was like one of the most broken draft decks I've ever had. So,
which is funny because definitely the most 10 of the most broken draft decks I've ever played are in that format.
Yeah,
but that's because the most broken draft deck maybe ever is in that format, and that's the red-white cycling deck.
Oh, sure.
I don't know if there is a deck in Magic, if there's another draft format in Magic that's capable of producing a deck that does as absurd things as that cycling deck does.
Sure. I mean, I don't know. I think that Drakehaven is cycling was pretty powerful too.
Yeah. It doesn't beat Deal You 20 with my instant. I've got 2 copies of in my deck.
Sure. Cool.
But that's neither here nor there. But I'm super excited to be going back to Ikoria next week for 1 week. And then what are we getting after flashback formats? What's coming on the 24th, Spencer?
I just did a podcast on Mythicast. You can check it out on the Constructive Criticism channel for Jumpstart Historic. The name is Historic Horizons. It's too long of a name. I say this in the podcast. It's just like the longest.
It's also a remix of 4 other things.
Yeah, it's just very strange. It's very strange. I want to talk to you about your last piece of thing that you're doing right now. And is this just something you're always doing, which is watching One Piece?
This is something I'm always doing, but like right now and granted this is going to be almost entirely useless information for the majority of our audience. Right now where One Piece is out in the anime is sweet. And will continue to be sweet for 2 months while it's getting out we've just had, I don't know, a year of, well, really 3 years of building up to like this climactic arc. But this arc has been building for about a year now and has hit the where the wheels meet pavement section of it in the show, and is just shaping up to gonna have some really cool fights in it. Every episode I'm super excited for it. And so what I'm here to say is that if you have at any point been a fan of One Piece, watched some of the show, I say find a reasonable jumping in point somewhere in the last 200 episodes of the show and just get back up to speed. The show is sweet. It is fun. It's not a particularly good use of your time, but it is a very fun thing. And I have rarely been so happy to be caught up on One Piece as right now.
That's awesome, dude. That it's funny. I made a joke. I think I've said this on the podcast before, but I made a joke. It was like, with this pandemic that's coming up, it might be the perfect time to watch One Piece. And
Yeah,
I watched a ton of stuff, and then now I'm looking back. I'm like, I really could have actually watched One Piece.
Yeah, it's very achievable. The fact that there are kids who have told me that they have caught up on One Piece during this pandemic terrifies me, because that's a lot of television for a kid. But also, there wasn't a better time.
Awesome. So for me, the things that I've been doing in Nerddom are, number one, I got super duper into Red Dead Redemption 2. This is a game that I bought with the winnings from a Magic the Gathering 1K. So, in Magic the Gathering, you can play in these cash tournaments where you can win prize money, and, a lot of stores, if you take credit, will give you more prize money. And so I bought a copy of Red Dead Redemption, because I kind of wanted the game, Red Dead Redemption 2, because I kind of wanted the game anyway. And it was pretty exciting when I first got it, though. I don't know, it just didn't capture me like I thought it would. But I am super into it right now. I have an internal struggle right now whether I want to play Magic the Gathering Arena, Valheim, or Red Dead Redemption at all times. So, that's.
You're not the first person to be talking about games that I've heard recently, talking about games that they had before, they didn't play a lot of, and they've come back to recently. I've really enjoyed it. And I think it's interesting because I think I have this similar arc with games sometimes, which is I play it for a while. I don't really get the game, right? I feel like I'm doing things wrong. I feel like I'm being punished by the mechanics of the game. And then I get to the point where I've just hit the understanding of the game. And then I realize how bad all of my mistakes were playing the game.
Yeah.
And then I put it down for a while.
I think that for me, I actually had what you're expressing right now was my experience with Mass Effect, the first one. But for this, it was more I don't know. I just didn't care. It felt too open world sandboxy for me. And the thing is when I realized that it's not your typical RPG, and it's a lot more Grand Theft Auto than it is Star Wars KOTOR. I don't know. It made me like it a lot more.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is I think that you play a game. I think a lot of people do this. They play a game, they struggle with it, they kind of get there to the point in the game, and then at some later point, whatever has happened that they've done it, they're like, oh, I actually think I kind of get it now, or maybe I've gotten to the place where that's what I'm looking for, or other people have talked about this game now, and they go back and they try it, and with armed with a little bit better of an understanding, a little bit more ready to read the cues at the beginning of the game, and they just have the best time.
Awesome.
I think it's pretty common.
The next thing that I've been doing a lot of is Valheiming. I'm really into Valheim West. I showed our friends Adam, Quentin, and some people what the work I've been doing on this Coliseum. They're super into it. They're considering starting up the game again. Just as we get closer and closer to that first release of that new content, it's the perfect time to get into it. And we didn't say this at the beginning of the show, but like we're having this Saturday, we're gonna have Valheim Night in our Discord. We know at least one person's joining. Still giving away 3 free copies of that game. All you have to do is leave a comment on our Valheim review and come join us. Like, come check it out. But I fixed kind of my boathouse dock this week. I got a ton of silver. Like, I've been kind of grinding in that game, and one of the things that's really interesting for me right now in Valheim is kind of the different things that I'm interested in that I wasn't interested in like a month ago. I don't know, like doing dungeon runs in my second account is like exciting, and with my second character is exciting, and different things like that. And building excites me more than it used to, and like adding aesthetics to my base is really interesting to me. I plan on going hunting for like a level 2 wolf soon and stuff like that. It's just the game is a lot bigger than other things. And it was funny because my wife I bought Stardew Valley to play in bed when my wife and I play video games in bed while we like have either a book on or something. Yeah, and while Stardew Valley, I enjoy it more than I thought I would. It like just makes me want to play Valheim.
Interesting. Like, there are so many things about it that you like have more agency over in Valheim that like you just want to be doing that.
Yeah, I think that like the kind of the day and night money system is kind of a turnoff for me. And it's funny though because I actually wish that the money system like was real in Valheim, and it's one of the things
it needs an economy so badly.
Yeah, I mean, don't worry, dude. I'm gonna make an economy. I've thought about this. Nice. But yeah, like I've been Valheiming, and then the other thing I've been playing a ton of Magic the Gathering lately. This is actually one of the best standard formats. Standard, for those who don't know, is kind of it's kind of a bad time to get into Standard just because it's about to rotate. But
if you are getting into Standard right now, what you should be getting into is 2022 Standard,
sure,
which is a perfect time to get into right now.
Absolutely. But the thing is like I've been playing just regular old Standard because like I said, I took a break during that Ikoria time as I took time off from Magic and podcasting during the beginning of the pandemic. I honestly like am just loving the Standard. It's funny because like people are like, oh, I'm so sick of Throne of Eldraine, and I'm like, go ahead.
Oh, just that people will absolutely complain about about like an old standard that they feel like they've been doing forever. Yet, has there ever been a bad 8-set standard?
No, this is one of my favorite.
Standards are always great.
Yeah, the standard is just fantastic. Like there are 12 good decks. There's and really interesting, intricate play decisions. Like you can sometimes get the feel bads, right? Like you can your opponents can get early wins with whether it's with Winota or whether it's with Sultai, but the truth is like having those pushes on the format is a good thing, and it makes for better gameplay. So I've really been enjoying that. And then my little son got into Digimon. I want to give a shout out to Jeff Nimoy, voice of Tentamon, who responded to my tweet last night. He's the director of Season 2. My son just got into Season 2.
Season 2, the
Digimon Adventure 2.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah, he's like, I think Adventure 2 is really good. But like that my kid thinks he is a Digimon expert. So when my wife was in the hospital,
doing baby.
Yeah, we had bought Season 1 of Digimon on Blu-ray, and we watched a lot of it, and then eventually, like, he wanted to watch it so bad, I just put Hulu on his tablet because Season 1 and Season 2 and Season 3 are all on there. And he's probably watched everything after the Devimon fight, like, 5 times already. Like, he is just
like the Dark Masters or whatever is his jam?
He likes the Myotismon stuff a little bit more. And, like, watching the crest, them get the crests and stuff. But yeah, like he's the cutest, and it's been really fun to experience that with him. Like last night, he was sick, and we watched a ton of stuff. And the first time that Ken goes on screen, he's like, "Dad, he has the glasses of the Digimon Emperor. That's the Digimon Emperor." And I was like, maybe. He's like, "Have you seen this?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you know who the Digimon Emperor is?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, am I right?" I'm like,
Oh, good. I love they're spoiling things is one thing for people. When they demand a spoiler, it's like when you're like,
he
I'll
tries.
tell you nothing.
He tries to get me spoiled. I did tell him he was right. I was like, "You're smart, Maxwell. You're right."
Yeah, that is a very low level of
But he
spoiler for the season.
He had all kinds of questions like that. I'm like, "I'm not telling you, Maxwell. I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you." So it's pretty fun. And then the last thing that I've been doing outside of those video games and watching Digimon with my kids, my wife and I started Modern Family because the whole thing went on to Hulu. Oh. And it's actually a comedy that we've wanted to watch for years, but we wanted to start from the beginning. And it was just so hard to find Modern Family if you didn't want to steal it. So it's been fun. It's already contributed a lot of laughter to my life, and there's been a pretty big hole for me since Big Bang Theory and How I Met Your Mother left the air. And honestly, like, The Good Place filled that for me, but it like was so short that I've just been
good old 5 seasons, so short.
It's 4 seasons.
Good old 4 seasons, so short.
Hey man, not everything's like an anime. Like some comedy, real life comedies. They last like 10 plus seasons.
Yeah, like One Piece.
Yeah, exactly. You get it. So yeah, so that's kind of what I've been up to. Let's talk about though the next things that we're looking to do. For me, I need to record my Mass Effect 3 review. I finally finished Mass Effect. I don't know if I said that on the podcast yet. It was really fun. I really enjoyed it. I still haven't even put in this Mass Effect Legendary Edition, but I wanted to finish the originals before I played Legendary Edition, so I'm excited to get to play that now. I'm going to record my video on it, and yeah. As far as consumption, though, I bought Skyward Sword to play with my wife. I'm excited to play that. We never owned that game, so it'll be exciting to play that. Also, it'll be cool.
Has your wife played Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, she doesn't like it.
Okay. She has other Zelda games that she's a fan of, though?
Yeah, she's a pretty big fan of Zelda games. She and Maxwell were playing A Link to the Past a few weeks ago together.
Nice.
And like they got pretty far in that. Her and I are playing Twilight Princess together. We're kind of stuck on a level right now, but we played that for when she was pregnant with Maxwell. We played that quite a bit, and
that's awesome.
And stuff like that. And then she owns Link's Awakening for her Switch. That was the first game I got her when she got her Switch. She was really excited to play that. So
the remaster, that's sweet.
But yeah, Skyward Sword with my wife is something that I just picked up, and then I kind of want to start a new anime. We have started what is the volleyball anime called?
Wow. It is
Haiku?
Called Haiku.
Yeah, so we've started Haiku. And the thing is that I really wanted to get away from kind of the shonen animes when I watched with her, because she and I we watch Fire Force together, we watch Dragon Ball Z together, we watch My Hero together. Like, it's a lot of shonen anime, and I kind of wanted something a little different. So that's pretty fun, but I'd like to kind of get further into that. And then also, I'm just looking for retro games, mostly GBA, GBC games.
Yeah.
As well as
I had an incredible moment earlier this week where I was with the kids I work with. We were at a park hanging out, and last weekend I kind of had like just a moment where I downloaded Fire Red as just I feel like I want to do this right now, just like play some Fire Red right now, and
I do that every year.
Yeah, exactly right. But I put it on my phone, and so I was like, I had that out. Like I was like, I was like, oh yeah, I've been playing this, and I put it out, and like I was in Lavender Town when I loaded it up, and so like the music was playing. I was like, I don't want to turn this off actually now that I'm doing this. And the kids walked in like, ooh, what is that? And I was like, wait a minute. No, here's what I'm going to do. I just like, saved where I was at, started a new game, handed it to them, was like, go. And so I got to listen to like half an hour of them like, playing through kind of the first, for me 10 minutes of the game, but for them, it took them about a half hour. But like,
Sure.
they were just having the best time with Bob the Bulbasaur.
Bob the Bulbasaur.
And Spencer, you'll be very excited about this. You know what they named their player character?
Ash.
A.
Nice.
It's a classic. It's a classic name.
It's a great name. But yeah, I'm looking for recommendations for retro games to play, mostly in the Nintendo space. But I'm willing to play like PS1 games as well. But N64 too. So like GBA, PS1, stuff like that. Just so that I can review them for the YouTube channel, because that's the kind of those are like my favorite.
Those are successful things.
No, it's not even successful.
They're also fun, right?
Like, it's just my favorite thing to do. Like, obviously,
that's what success is. Having fun.
Exactly. Like the Zoids Legacy review is, I think, the most watched video on the YouTube channel. But also, like, it's a game that I don't even think it's a good video. Very like as much as my excitement for that game and my love for that game, like, completely sold the video because I love it that much. Like it is just one of my favorite RPGs. So I'm looking to capture that. I'm currently working on Diddy Kong Racing right now as my next retro review. But I'm looking for stuff after that. I've never played Conker's Bad Fur Day, so it's on my list. What about you? What are the things that you're kind of excited about in nerddom?
Well, so I mean, there are things I'm definitely excited about in nerdom, and there's news that we're going to talk about in a moment that like I'm excited for. But like I've been kind of in like a ratcheting down my looking forward to things a little bit. I've not been like seeing a thing and being like I want to do that thing. I've been having to kind of think about like August has been like a last moment blowout thing for me. But the truth is that I kind of need to like tone it back a little bit here in a week, because I am going back to school for the first time in a while, and I'm going to take a full course load, and I do not want to screw it up this time. And I think I have the tools I need to do that. I've said that before, but I think I have everything I need. Like I have the systems in place. Sure. I have the help I need. I have the motivation I'm going to need.
So I like own your nerddom during school.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, like that's the nerdy thing I'm going to be working on all fall is like
whatever the podcast is about.
Papers, like academic things. Like it's going to be like I actually did a desensitizing walkthrough of the University of Utah campus earlier this week. Just like I was there, I found where all my classes were, walked through everything, and I went through the library, and anyone who's like been in a college library knows that those things are like kind of different than your ordinary library in that like sure there are books there, right, but a lot of it is just about having like a place to get work done and the resources to help you do that. But I did walk back into the stacks, into the rows and rows and rows of just random books, and I was just like kind of enjoying that feeling.
That's awesome, man.
There are certainly things that I'm not like going to quit being a nerd. I'm not going to like stop playing video games, stop watching anime, but certainly my sights are lowered for all of that in the near future.
So what you're saying is during school, you will consume the things that you have to consume for the podcast, and that's about it.
During school, I will consume the things I have to consume for the podcast and whatever else slips through, but I will not be taking any other calls.
Sure. That's gas. Let's talk about the news that excites us, and I want you to go first, because it was funny when we were making the show notes. I was like, oh man, you took like my news, but I actually did find two things that I'm extremely excited about, and also I didn't realize that my second one had been announced. So,
but also this is the biggest news. Not even the biggest news. It's the thing that's.
Can we preface your news with something? Because I want to preface the news you're excited about with something, and
I guess it's not really news.
Well, I just want to say that I think that one of the things that's really interesting to me, I made a tweet about this. So for those who don't know, Hungrybox does this spin-off, this like mock series called Hot Wands, because his name is Juan. He's a Smash player named Juan, and he does basically Hot Ones, but he does it with Smash players.
Okay.
And the video had been up for like 5 minutes, and somebody had already disliked it. And I'm like, who does this? And it's funny to me that we go to... This is a huge shift that I personally have made that has made me so much happier that I encourage others to. So when you're watching this video or listening to this podcast, I want you to know that I've made the shift. That when people are excited about something or people like something, you don't need to bring it down. You don't need to say, that's stupid, it's dumb, I hate it. Nobody cares that you hate it. They're excited about it. And so, with that being said, Wes, what are you excited about in Nerdy News?
Oh, apparently Spencer doesn't like what I'm about to talk about. So
No, I love it, but I know that I know what YouTube comments will say that I will disapprove.
That people are going to be unhappy about it. Sure.
Yeah.
First off, there was a very, very good boy announced yesterday. But as part of these things, but there were 2 amazing Pokemon trailers that came out in the last 2 days. We got our new trailer of Arceus Legends, or Pokemon Legends Arceus, and our new trailer of Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, both of which are new Pokemon games set to come out. The Diamond and Pearl remakes this fall, and the Legends Arceus game eventually.
No, it said January of 2022.
Great.
In the trailer. So that's like 6 months away.
January of 2022.
That's 6 months away.
Spencer.
All right.
November 19th feels like a real thing. I don't know what's going on with all that.
I actually really like the release dates for what it's worth, because it lets people who maybe didn't get to play Diamond and Pearl, and also DSs are really expensive right now, so it's not like you could just go pick up a DS and play it. I got a 2DS XL as my second DS for like, I think it was like $180, and I think they're going for like 300 plus right now on eBay. Like, DSs are through the roof. So I don't blame people for not wanting to buy one of those. And if you want to experience this world, that, what is the acronym? BDSPMQ is a great way to, experience this this part of the franchise.
I'm confused about the MPQ, but I'll get there. These were, some of my most beloved games growing up. 4th generation holds a special place in my heart. That said, this is my less favorite half of 4th gen, but that's just because we all know that my like basically all timers are sitting right behind me, the other 4th gen Pokemon games.
That's so funny too, because like this is when I quit. Like this was my last Pokemon game. I didn't play Black or White or Black or White 2. And I honestly quit before, Silver and Gold came out, so.
That's right. Spencer quit Pokemon in 1998.
No, you know what I mean.
Heart, Gold, Soul, Silver. Of course I know what you mean, Spencer, but I had to make the joke.
Sure.
But I'm super excited for these games. These are all very good kids that you're going to be starting with in this Pokemon game. Not nearly as good as the kids that you're going to be starting in the other Pokemon game we're talking about, because those guys are super special.
Let's talk about, really quickly though, who is your Diamond Pearl starter that you're going to go with?
Well, I don't know, because I do have this lovely Turtwig plush behind me right now, and I do love Turtwig the Pokemon a lot, but he's not my favorite. Torterra is not the sweetest Pokemon to end the game with compared to Infernape or Empoleon. So I don't know if I'll be able to answer that question until I am there making the choice, Spencer. I don't premeditate things that way.
I already know who I'll pick, because I'll have Maxwell pick for me. And it will be Piplup, because he loves Piplup. And also, just I think, as cool as Infernape is, I think that there's a clear best end Pokemon that is the sweetest.
Yeah, best, like, not OU every generation for all time.
Not OU?
In the world of singles competitive Pokemon, that's kind of the legacy of Pokemon, the really good stuff, but not vintage good stuff of Pokemon. And Infernape is an all-timer in that regard.
Nice.
It's just very fast, very powerful.
Yeah, when I say best, I don't mean competitively the best. I mean the sweetest.
No, we like him. Yeah, I mean, I will say, Empoleon as a water steel type actually is like a huge, like in, I'm assuming, Gen 8 mechanics, is a huge downgrade. Gen 7, no, Gen 8 mechanics, yeah, is actually is way worse than it was in 4th gen because steel has been nerfed.
Oh,
You no longer will resist ghost and dark that like you did before.
interesting.
But that's neither here nor there. You'll have an advantage against fairy types, which will be in this game, which will be in this
That's a
area for the
huge.
first
That's
time.
that's a huge bonus for
No,
what
totally.
it's worth.
Togekiss is like a very real thing in this game. Like Togekiss is on a lot of people's parties at the end of the game, and like that'll be a totally different texture than it was before.
Yeah, I think one of the cool things about this for me is like I think this will probably be like a great introduction to Pokemon for Maxwell, where I think Sword and Shield was actually a little too much for him.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in Sword and Shield. This game, I think, is much more compact.
Yeah, if it doesn't work, I'll probably get him a Let's Go game, but we'll see. He really wants to play Pokemon, but he needs somebody with him because he's not he knows all his letters but can't like quite read yet. So
Yeah. I was really enjoying watching like first and second graders like sounding out the words to this game, like playing like the first little bit of Fire Red the other day. But so that's
But,
some cool things we saw in that trailer.
Obviously, you want to talk about Growlithe though, so we should move on to that.
Yeah. Last ideas about Brilliant Diamond, Shining
Sure.
Pearl is just that the underground is back. Lots of the cool core features of Diamond and Pearl seem like they're going to make it into this game, and that's a lot of what they gave us in this trailer, which is awesome. But yeah, no, what I really want to talk about is that adorable puppy, Growlithe, of Ancient Days, which featured prominently in the new Pokemon Legends Arceus trailer. But the thing that really stuck out to me about that trailer, and I imagine it did the same for you, was Pokemon attacking the player character.
So
That
yeah,
sounds so cool.
I was watching people react to that trailer today, and nobody mentioned that. And I was like, you just got you've got electricity going around your body and you're hurting. It's funny, that was not even my biggest takeaway from that trailer, as much as just jumping off a cliff and flying away.
That's true. Glider.
Yeah,
I like Glider.
Yeah,
Glider's awesome.
I'm shocked that wasn't your biggest takeaway.
You know, I didn't register that. I filed into like Pokemon Rideshare, right? Like whatever they gave us in.
It's not that. It's
Gen
not.
6.
I
know it's not that. It's way cool. But also that's just Breath of the Wild, because this game is trying to take Breath of the Wild lessons and make it Pokemon. But I think Pokemon attacking the player character is huge, actually. Like getting attacked by a Gyarados or an Ursaring, like you, the character, sounds so just like awesome. And the game it reminds me of is like Pokemon Coliseum, with like the darkness turned to Pokemon that like
I never played them. I didn't own a GameCube.
Like you had to like unlock their moves as they warmed up to you, and they were the only Pokemon you could catch. That game was very interesting, and like doing different things with Pokemon and like the structure by which you obtain Pokemon or they interact with you is always really cool.
Do I need to play Coliseum to play Gale of Darkness?
I have no idea, because I've never played Gale of Darkness.
Oh man, we might have a project on our hands.
We might have a project on our hands.
What do you on which of these two things are you the most excited about?
Sooner is always better in terms of my excitement. I cannot wait to finish playing BDSP so that I can be excited about Pokemon Legends Arceus. But like, I think I'm just very excited to get in there with a Togekiss. I'm very excited to discover that Bronzong is not as sweet as I had hoped it was in like player mode, because I'm bored of doing like hypnosis locks. But I'm never bored of that. Also, all right, I just decided I'm taking Turtwig because I remember it gets Leech Seed, my all-time favorite move.
Fair.
I'm excited.
I am more excited for Arceus, but probably not for the reason people would think. I really didn't like Sun and Moon. But Decidueye is like actually one of my favorite all-time favorite Pokemon by like top maybe top 5. Like I actually think it's just one of the sweetest Pokemon ever. So I'm super hyped. Like
I'm gonna if we have PvP then, like if I can battle you with my team, I'm gonna thrash you then, Spencer, with my team, because I've been locked in since day one of seeing what the starters were in that game.
You know what's funny too is that I love Quilava. Like Quilava is like one of those. I think we talked about this with Growlithe, by the way, where like I love Growlithe. Like Growlithe is like one of my favorite Pokemon ever, but Arcanine has never been like.
Oh, that's wild. Arcanine is like a shoe in to my real life 6. If there was a real life 6, like Arcanine is so in there.
You just want to ride on a dog.
I want Clifford. Yeah.
Yeah,
Clifford.
that's fine. That's fine. I would want a Growlithe, but Arcanine. I also like little dogs compared to big dogs for what it's worth. So like.
Oh, I'm a big dog guy. So yeah, no, I want an Arcanine deciding it wants to sit in my lap.
Yeah. That's the worst part of big dogs. I want a dog that's like basically a cat, man. I want it to be a dog, but you know.
I mean, yeah, you're. Oh man, I'm now thinking about the 4th gen like cats, like Perugly. Yeah, let's go. I want to play some 4th gen.
Anyway, I'm really excited for Arceus. Like, I think that
it's gonna break the mold.
The thing is that I think it's gonna be overhyped. I think people are gonna say it sucks because
it's gonna be overhyped. Wow, weird. We've known about it for a year and a half.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can't overhype it.
Well, the thing is like they're going to expect mainline Pokemon experience mixed with Breath of the Wild, and that's just not what it's gonna be. And
it's gonna be its own thing.
Yeah, like from what I understand, it's like from what I'm gathering, it's like Monster Hunter mixed with Pokemon mixed with Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
And like
this is gonna be the first like true like Pokemon JRPG is what it is.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. I'm gonna love it, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the 2 things in news that I'm excited about? One of them was announced 2 days ago, but both of these release dates are fairly soon.
Yeah, one of these things I have no idea what we're talking about, so I'm excited to get there. But tell me about your first thing.
Yeah, so the first thing is Star Wars Visions comes out next month on the 22nd.
What are this?
Yeah, so Star Wars Visions is these single isolated Star Wars stories on Disney Plus that are basically Star Wars animes. Like anime, I don't know if I want to call them shorts or what, but they look sweet.
They're one-shots. They're
one-shots.
They're glimpses. It's stories of bossing, say, Star Wars.
Yeah, it looks so cool. Like, and the thing is we just talked about earlier in the episode, right? Like missing this, you can jump in at any time type of thing, and really get a vision for, like really get an appreciation for these shows. And I think Star Wars Visions is really going to offer that. And
it's also a new style to Star Wars, right? Star Wars has story told in so many styles over the years, right? Like so many different visual styles, so many different like literature styles, video games, right? Like, but we've never seen.
Do you know what Red Harvest is, by the way?
Red Harvest?
Yes, it is a horror Star Wars novel.
That's sweet.
Like Star Wars novels have horror, they have romance, they have like all of these different genres within Star Wars, and now we're getting like these, I don't know, this different interpretation. I agree with you completely. It's very exciting, and I'm not gonna lie, I would be shocked if like I don't get a story out of this that like enters into my favorite all-time Star Wars stories.
Sure.
Like it's there's just so much room to explore, and I really love that.
They're unburdened, right? Like they don't have to tell like a 12-episode story. They don't have to make it into a movie. They just get to like say what happened to this guy. Like,
and
what happened to Jar Jar Binks? I want to know what happened to Jar Jar Binks. That's probably gonna get me crucified on the internet. But like, did he die? Is he still alive? Did he get blown up when Coruscant got blown up?
What? Coruscant didn't get blown up.
Did it not? I thought they.
What are you talking about?
When they destroyed. What did they destroy in?
A New Hope?
No, not A New Hope. The first of the new series. The new in.
Oh, that's not Coruscant. That is a good question. I do not know the name of those 3 planets, but Coruscant was not one of them.
Okay, I didn't know that. I thought Coruscant was gone.
That's a great question. I would typically know the answer to that question, but it was not Coruscant.
Do you even belong in Star Wars fandom?
I know, right? I'm such a poser. I bet I haven't even played KOTOR.
Probably.
Yeah, definitely not.
Wait, that's me. I'm a poser.
It was really funny. Side tangent, really quick. There was a TikTok where a guy was like, "You're not a real Star Wars fan if you don't know who Darth Revan is." And Star Wars TikTok went off on this guy. They're like, "You don't get to gatekeep.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get to gatekeep on, like, we're not YouTube on Star Wars TikTok. Like, you don't get to do this."
Yeah, we all know the true gatekeeping of Star Wars is whether or not you can speak the Ewok language. Yep, nub.
Yep, nope. But yeah, I'm really excited for it. I also think that, like, while it got some backlash originally, I think the fact that these stories won't be canon is actually pretty great.
Wait, what? They can't be canon. They won't be canon.
They're not canon.
What does that mean? Like, they're not held to like we can't say gotcha. Is that's all they're saying?
Yeah, it's canon. Canon is funny to me. Like, the whole Star Wars canon, Marvel canon, DC canon, Avatar canon, like, understanding, like, what is
Avatar in there is weird, but that's okay.
Sure, I'm just saying. I like that they don't have that restriction. Like, they can tell whatever story they want, and I will enjoy it.
10 minutes of Darth Maul falling in two pieces down a
contemplating the meaning of life.
Pipe?
I would watch that. Just questioning himself,
talking
his decisions.
To himself?
Yeah, I would watch that.
Like,
I would watch that.
How did I get here?
You should make that. You should make that video.
I should make that video. Okay.
Yeah. You write it. Get somebody to.
I'm gonna go find a magician to saw me in half first. But yeah.
Well, you could have it be animated, West, and then you wouldn't have to be sawed in half. And then you just need to find an animator after you write it. The next piece of news was announced 2 days ago. This is not official date, but it is a placeholder date. Because on, I think it was August 6th, My Hero World Heroes Mission was released in Japan.
What are this?
This is the third My Hero movie.
Oh, a movie. I don't watch movies.
You know what? It's funny because Wes and I have not done the My Hero movies yet. Mostly because I wanted Wes to be caught up on the anime before we did them, but they will definitely be on, like, our docket of reviews. I did do a review for the second My Hero movie when I saw it in theaters on the YouTube channel. West, don't watch it because we're gonna review the movie on the podcast.
Oops.
You've already watched it?
No, of course not. I'm kidding.
But yeah,
watch content you make, Spencer? Come on. That's a joke because I listened to content you made for many years.
Yeah. But yeah, World Heroes Mission is the third My Hero movie, and honestly, like, the My Hero movies have been really good. Like, DBC movies, super hit or miss.
Star Trek movies, every other.
Yeah, but these, I've loved the first two movies a lot, and they do a really good job of making them quote unquote canon.
Tying them in.
Yeah, they're really good, and I have really high hopes for this one. The trailer looked really good, and October is not that far away. I don't know, man. I love My Hero so much. I don't want to say too much about these. If you have seen the Japanese version, please don't spoil it for me. I would like to watch the movies dubbed first before I watch them subbed. But, I've been watching My Hero Season 4, as it is the next one that we need to review on the podcast.
I think it finished now?
That's Season 5.
Oh, I have no idea what season I'm watching then. I'm just here to mess with Spencer. That's my job. My job is to make Spencer have no idea what's happening anymore.
You're just asking questions and making me question my reality.
Yes, that's my job.
But like, the costumes
5 episodes of The Good Place, 4 episodes of My Heroes.
Oh man, episodes now too. We're just like really messing with me. But World Heroes Mission looks so good. The costumes look sweet. And as we are watching Season 5 right now, and we see kind of this emphasis on Todoroki, Deku, and and Bakugo working together. Like, maybe this is where they reveal Bakugo's hero name. I don't know where West is in the anime, so I don't know if I'm spoiling the fact that he finally picked one. But
Bakugo's hero name was always going to be Die, I'll kill you, Die. That's the only answer.
I'm super stoked for this film, and I'm really jealous of the people that have already gotten to watch it. But knowing that there is a placeholder release date, I will be masked up in the theater, shoving popcorn into my mask to watch this thing.
Yeah, just like the mask is the box.
Oh yeah, there we go. I can't spread COVID if my face is literally
you also
in.
Can't see the movie, but that's okay.
Yeah. I love popcorn. I love movie theater popcorn so much. That's
specifically movie theater popcorn. That's
oh man, it's we do popcorn for movie night, and like I get so disappointed. If you want to suggest a topic for us to talk about, leave a comment here on the YouTube video. This is not something that we've invited listeners to do, but as the show has gotten a little bit bigger, I want to encourage our audience to tell us what you want to hear about. Yeah. So leave a YouTube comment or just join the He's a Game Media Discord. There's an entire section on the Discord for the podcast, and I think there might even be a channel for suggested topics, but
it sounds like we know we have a listener suggested topic, and it sounds like you've started moving towards it, and I've started moving towards it.
We do? What is it?
Yeah, Haikyuu.
Oh, well, that actually is a listener suggested topic that we have. Yeah. I need to watch it, but Adrian is a huge fan of that show. He's the one that suggested it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Adrian's a huge fan of the show. If you're listening, Adrian, shout out to you. And honestly, like, I'm enjoying the show so far. It's just Devin likes to binge watch stuff, and I do not like to binge watch stuff. But if we do decide to do Haikyuu for the podcast, I will probably end up binge watching it with Devin. But yeah, leave a comment, go to the Discord. Those are great places to suggest topics, and honestly, like, I would love to hear from the listeners. Like, what do you want to hear us talk about? It can't just be me talking about Star Wars and Wes talking about Pokemon all the time. Like, we want to expand our horizons too. So
yeah, like when I talk about Advance Wars all the time in a month or two here, and you talk about Metroid all the time in a month or two here.
You can find me at Spencer13H. You can find West at East_Monotone. You can find the podcast at Needs Nerd Pod. You can find the He's a Game Media YouTube channel. I guess they changed it, so we might actually be able to get a YouTube channel URL that I can shout out later. I gotta look into that. But yeah, if you want to support the show, the easiest place to do it are just to smash that like button and subscribe on YouTube, or leave us a review if possible wherever you're listening. And yeah, if you want to support the podcast directly, head on over to patreon.com/need2nerd, or no, He's the Game Media. Sorry, I gotta get that right. That'll also really help us as far as, like, I don't know, like, we put a lot of time into this because I just like talking to us about nerd stuff, but it certainly would be nice to be able to, put some money into West's headset, or,
I do love how the first thing the Patreon money always buys is a massive call out to the co-host.
I mean, I have a headset for you if you want one. Actually, probably.
I'm here for the joke. I'm not here for.
You're like, I don't want your solutions, Spencer. If you want,
mine matches my shirt. Yours matches your shirt. We shouldn't change anything.
So head on over to Patreon if you want to support us directly. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. I had a lot of fun this week, West. I'm really glad that we got to do this style of episode. These episodes are always fun because, like, we get to talk about the things that excite us. Like, I love riding on a horse on Red Dead. And if I didn't realize that I had to do a draft right this second, as soon as we're done, I would probably be playing Red Dead after this.
I can't wait to sit down and tell Spencer he needs to pick every Aether Swooper he sees in this draft.
Oh, are you going to do this draft with me?
Yeah, why not?
All right. Well, then we better wrap up so that we can go do a draft. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Don't forget, the Valheim night will probably be the day after this podcast is posted. If you want a free copy and you want to join us, the listeners, we had quite a bit of responses to our poll, so we'll be going into the Heezy world and kind of showing people the game. The easy world is actually great for beginners because it starts you right next to the first boss for what it's worth. So
we can get you
some
good stuff quick.
Yeah, we can do quite a bit of stuff really quickly. So thank you everybody so much for listening. We'll see you guys all next time with another episode of Smash Through, a podcast about getting better at Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on the Always Improving Network.
No, this is actually Need to Nerd on the Heezy Game Media Network.
Hmm.
Yeah.